Welcome. In front of me say Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, and today I'll go through an unboxing along with a brief overview of the device. So this is the box that comes in, and the first thing you will see is the color of the device represented with the font or color of the font right here. So S20 is basically the same color, and that comes out to be cloud blue, because we got multiple fancy ways of calling colors nowadays. So let's get this open. So on the top cover of the box itself, you have the SIM eject tool along with a couple of paperwork that no one really ever cares about, as you can see. So let's just not even go through it. Then we got a device. I'm gonna set that on the side for the moment. And as you already seen, the device is already set up. So in here you have this little flap that we can take out, and you have the charger. So it's the fast charger, which is what is it? 5 watts, 3 amps, 9 watts, 2.7 amps. So fast charger, there we go. And also in the box you have a cable, which just has the charger. It's Type C, as you can see. So both ends are Type C, and there is no dongle for you to go from Type C to the Type A. So you can, for instance, plug it easily with the provided cable to your computer. I believe the Note 10 provided it, but not the S20 series apparently. And then you also have the AKG headphones right here. And I'm not gonna take them out. I guess I can. It's kind of like show it how it looks like from here. So yeah, and they are also Type C cable. Or if I can actually find the end of it. Where is it? Oh, there we go. You can see it's Type C already, so you don't need any kind of dongle to convert it. Let's try to squeeze that back in there. Okay, so moving that away, you get the device itself. So let me flip it over for you to see actually the color. So like I said, this is the there was a cloud blue or something like that, and we got a bunch of other interesting ways of calling ordinary colors, like cosmic gray, cloud blue, which this is, cloud pink, and cosmic black. So basically it's a blue, pink, white, or gray and black. So the colors. Now going into the specifications of this device, this is the normal one, the S20 Plus. You also have the version of 5G, which I will provide pricing for the device later on according to the 5G variant, because the normal one, the S20 Plus, I just cannot find any comparative prices between different regions, while the other ones I could, at least to some extent. So jumping on, we have the display, probably the main show piece right here. So it's the Samsung's new dynamic AMOLED display, which supports the 120. Now keep in mind that you won't actually be able to see the 120 Hz refresh rate on the camera, because it only supports a 60 frames, or YouTube supports 60. So you will not be actually able to see the full potential of this displays unless you turn it on in person and see it just on your device. But it looks really nice and smooth. So the display itself is a 6.7 inch display with a resolution of 1440 by 3200, and when it comes down to pixels per inch, it translates to 525 pixels per inch. And the front and the back of the display, display and the case itself, is a Gorilla Glass 6. And the display itself has an HDR 10 plus certification, and like I said, supports 120 frames refresh rate. Although one thing to keep in mind, the 120 frames is only supported when you have the full HD display. So if I go in here, you can see that it's enabled right here at 120, but only at 1080p. If I go to 1440 and apply this, it automatically drops to 60, and I have no actual option to go to 120. So let's just go back to this one, because I honestly think this is way better. And personally, I don't really see a difference between the resolution difference, but there's totally a difference between like scrolling and how smooth it looks. So another thing, this version has 8 GB of RAM, 128 gigs built-in storage, and it's able to expand with the SD card up to 1 TB. So that's nice, and the SD card slot is just a typical normal one SD slot that we have seen for ages now. Nothing new, groundbreaking, super small, whatever. By our new SD card, it's just a typical one. And also, one thing to keep in mind, when you have the 5G version of the device, it actually has 12 gigs of RAM instead of 8. That is basically the case for every S20 model, at least the S20 and 20 Plus. Both of them in 5G, they have 12 gigs instead of 8. And then, what is the processor? You have actually 2 variants of the processor depending where you're buying the device. So you have the Exynos 990 and Snapdragon 865. So one is available in Europe and one in United States. I think the Snapdragon is from United States while the Exynos is in Europe. And okay, so let's go now to the back of the phone where we have the camera setup. Just kind of place it so it doesn't come off. So we actually have a quadruple camera setup, although I'm not sure if you can call one a camera. Oh, it's nicely looking on the camera with the light reflecting right here. You have the 12 megapixel wide, 64 telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 0.3 megapixel time of flight depth sensor. So that's why I'm saying that it's not really a camera, it's more of a sensor. And when it comes down to recording, probably as you already seen the advertisement, the device records at 8K, which is kind of mind-blowing. But honestly, from at least how I've been looking at this, the 8K doesn't look that bad, or that good. Maybe if I would have an 8K monitor, which probably I won't have any time in the next decade, it would look way better. But looking just at the device at 1080p at the 4 or 8K footage, in my opinion, the 4K looks way better because it has the 60 frames, and the quality overall seems more detailed in the 4K than the 8K. It seems like the 8K just kind of drops off the quality. So apart from that, you can record at 720p 960 frames. That's the super slow-mo, and it is super slow. Where you can basically capture a refresh rate of the monitor. So as monitor refreshes 60 times per second, you can literally see how image moves on the screen, basically by the refresh rate. Then you also have a slow motion recording at 240 at 1080p, and you can also record at 1080p the normal 30 and 60 frames videos, and 4K has the same 30 and 60 frame recording, and both of them are working amazingly. Especially the 4K, I was really surprised by how nice the video looked, how smooth. So let's go back to the front, and as you can see, you also have the in-display fingerprint. Now this is not my fingerprint added, so I can't really show how it works, but it's a fairly quick one. You can just tap on it. You don't need to wait for the display to actually unlock. Just tap on it and it tries to process it and then unlocks. It's a decently quick unlock, but from what I can see here, the OnePlus 6 Pro or 7 Pro, whichever one had the under display fingerprint, it's quicker. But then that device had, like, in my opinion, a really good sensor for how quick it was actually unlocking. And then moving on to the battery, you have the 4500 milliamps battery, which is 500 more than the step down to just the S20. And you can also, you have the wired 25 watt charging, and you have 15 watt wireless charging, along with reverse wireless charging also at that rate. And when it comes down now to pricing, which is the last thing that I wanted to leave on, in the US you pay for you have the two versions, at least when I was checking on the Samsung website. So the US has 128 gig for $1,200, or the 512 gigabyte version for $1,350. And the UK, kind of like the Europe side, has only one, which is the 5G version also, but for some reason they only have the 128 gigabyte version, and the 500 is not accessible. It says that doesn't come with this device, which the United States version does apparently, so kind of weird. And the price for the 120 gigabyte version is 999 pounds, which is which, if I remember correctly, was what was it? It's gonna be over 1,000, like 200, I think. I can't really check right now, but I know that the 899 price for the S20 was coming out to be over 1,100. So I assume this, with this price, it will be probably something like $1,200. But if you're using pounds, then well, there's probably no need for you to convert it. And yeah, so let's just quickly look at the device itself all around. So you have the nice display with a hole punched camera right here. It's a really small one compared to the old one. So it looks really nice. The display also looks nice. Then on the bottom you have the speaker grill right here. Then the Type-C charging and a microphone. On the left side there is basically nothing apart from some antenna band right here. Then at the top you have the SIM tray, another microphone. I think this is for the loudspeaker. And then on the other side, on the right side, you have volume rockers right here, and the, I would say, power key, but apparently they don't call it that anymore here, because it only unlocks and locks the device and turns it on, powers it. But when you try to power it off, it will launch Bixby, so kind of meh. But you can actually change that if you wish to. And then at the back you have the camera sensors along with this nicely reflective back. So yeah. So this would basically conclude the overview of the device. And if you found this very helpful, don't forget to smash that like button, and thanks for watching.